You are at your desk after dinner. Claude Code is open in the terminal. Your IDE is open too. A teammate drops a message in Slack. Can we make the release notes automatic? The agent is ready. The question is not whether it can type code. The question is where this work should live. CLI, IDE, GitHub Actions, Slack, or the SDK. You think, if this runs every week, a clever local demo is not enough. That is the moment when Claude Code stops being an IDE assistant and becomes an operating surface decision. This is Lesson 02 in the Claude Code Production Agent course, what Claude Code is in 2026. If you are following the course in order, we are building one mental model at a time. Subscribe now if you want the full sequence, because the value comes from seeing how the pieces connect. Last time, in Lesson 01, we reduced agents to the loop. Build context, ask the model, run approved tools, observe results, and repeat. The lesson learned was that you should not design around the answer. You should design around the loop that produced the answer. That matters today because Claude Code gives you several places where that loop can run. The pain point is that many people talk about Claude Code as if it were just a smarter coding assistant inside an IDE. That is too small. Claude Code is better understood as a set of operating surfaces for the same agentic primitive stack: CLI, IDE, GitHub Actions, Slack SDK, and the integrations around them. The practical question is not, where is the coolest demo? The practical question is, which surface gives this workflow the right control, audit trail, repeatability, and handover? If you remember one sentence from this lesson, remember this: learn in the CLI, productionize through the surface that gives you control, audit, and repeatability. There are three decisions in this lesson. First, where should the agent run? Second, what should the agent be allowed to see and change? Third, what evidence do we need after the work is done? That map keeps us out of featureless thinking. Think of Claude Code like a disciplined workshop. The CLI is the workbench where you learn the tools. The IDE is the desk beside the code. GitHub Actions is the night shift. Slack is the service counter. The SDK is when you build your own workshop flow. None of these surfaces is universally best. Each surface changes the supervision model. The visible artifact for this lesson is the surface selection matrix. Columns, CLIIDE, GitHub, Actions, Slack S, DK rows. Best use case: human review point, permission boundary, evidence trail, repeatability, failure recovery. Imagine a team wants weekly release notes. In the IDE, this may start as a useful experiment. In the CLI, a developer can refine the prompt. In GitHub Actions, it becomes repeatable. In Slack, it becomes available to the team. In the SDK, it can become part of a custom internal workflow. Same loop, different operating surface, different accountability. The common mistake is choosing the surface that feels comfortable rather than the surface that matches accountability. IDE demos feel magical, but production workflows need logs, permissions, repeatability, and handover. Teams often do not fail because the model is useless. They fail because they never defined where the work belongs. Let us recap Lesson 2. In Lesson 1, we learned the agent loop. In Lesson 2, we learned that Claude Code is not just an IDE tool. It is a set of surfaces where the loop can run. The core rule again: learn in the CLI, productionize through the surface that gives you control, audit, and repeatability. The lesson learned is this: the surface is part of the system design. A workflow that is safe in a developer's terminal may be wrong for Slack. A workflow that is useful in an IDE may need GitHub Actions before it becomes repeatable. Production AI is not only about the model, it is about where the work happens. If you want the complete Claude Code production agent course, subscribe to the channel. The next videos build on this sequence, and missing one layer makes the later production patterns harder to see. In lesson 3, we decide which Claude model belongs inside the loop because model choice changes speed, cost, context, reliability, and risk.